So while I was searching for jobs, I looked up what are their main qualifications that they were demanding, and I saw it was either a CIA or a CISA, and and I picked CISA to like immediately like finish it off, get it and get going to apply for jobs. And thank God I finally got a job and I started working in, yeah. That happened for 5 weeks. And then at the end of fifth week, I would be like, oh my God, what happened in domain one? I completely forgot because the portions are so vast. It's so difficult to wrap your head around it. So then I had to do the whole thing again. And then it starts like instilling in your head, like, okay, this is what happens.
Hello everyone, welcome to CISA-This-Much. This is Aditya, and today we have with us Mekha, who has recently qualified as CISA. So Mekha, first of all, heartiest congratulations for clearing the CISA in the first attempt. So before asking you any question, how does it feel clearing this exam in the first attempt?
Thank you so much, Aditya, for having me here today. And I am ecstatic that I cleared it in my first go. I feel so relieved and I'm overwhelmed after like 3 to 4 months of like constantly studying and, late nights and flashcards and all of that. I finally cleared the exam, which has helped me so much in my professional career and also helped me get a job. So I'm really happy and grateful to you for helping me through this whole journey. Yeah.
All right. So, congratulations for a new job. And can you please introduce yourself, your background, and what made you choose this certification, CISA?
Yeah. So I come with about 5 to 6 years of experience in both in risk advisory, which includes both internal audit and forensics. So I started my career with Deloitte. I was in their risk advisory team, and then I moved to EY with their fraud investigations team. So through my career, I've obtained both CMA and CFE, which is a forensic certification, and then I moved to UAE to expand my knowledge and get experience in the internal audit team. One thing I've constantly seen in my past 5 years or 6 years of experience is that there are people like your team is always like constantly upgrading themselves or updating themselves with the latest certifications or certain courses that are always like coming out. And it is very important. I've learned that it is very important to always keep yourself learning and also be updated with the latest certifications to grow in your professional skill sets. So I moved to US last October, and I was waiting for my green card and my work permit. So I had about like 4 months grace period to like enjoy myself or like to learn something new or to do something different. So while I was searching for jobs, I looked up what are their main qualifications that they were demanding, and I saw it was either a CIA or a CISA, and I picked CISA to like immediately like finish it off, get it and get going to apply for jobs. And thank God I finally got a job and I started working in April.
All right. So you have mentioned that like you were having around 4 months of time with yourself, and so in those 4 months you have finished the entire CISA. Like you started 4 months back, and and you cleared the exam within 4 months. And also you were studying for the entire day, or you were having a full time job along with the studies. Like what was your scenario?
Okay, so I registered for CISA late October and I thought I could do it by myself. So I started self-study. I got the CRM and I also had access to the QAE. And I started studying myself, but it was too dry and the portions were too vast for me to completely get my head around the syllabus and the information. It was just too much. And then November is when I enrolled for your course. Uh, but I had some other personal commitments. So November and December, November, and almost mid December, I did not study. So I studied from Jan, Feb, and like, yeah, December, Jan, Feb, and March. I gave my exam like March last week. So and in between that, I also was doing I was like had a full-time job of applying for a full-time job, so that itself took like 8 hours of my day, talking to HRs, interviews, back-to-back interviews. So it was a lot. Like, even whether you're working or not working, if you have a commitment of 8 hours in your day going to something else, and to get put in time for, this exam, it just really took a lot of my energy, and definitely I had to put in like a lot of work to make sure that I got this certification.
All
Yeah,
right.
so I would say I did 4 months with 3 to 4 hours of studying every day,
Every day.
including weekends. And if I missed a weekend, it would be so difficult for me to get back to the studying cycle, because I feel like if your mind is not constantly working towards that one exam, it could be difficult for you to get back into the studying culture, like the behavior. And I tend to forget, because like if you have a great weekend, it's difficult to get back into routine. So I made sure like the last 2 months I was fully committed to making sure my weekends were just to myself, and no other entertainment. Yeah.
All right. So thanks for a detailed answer. And also, like, what was your the strategy, or because when you start studying for CISA, there are 5 domains. Each and every domain is important and there are domains like domain 4, domain 5. It's too vast. You need to watch the lectures, you need to revise things, you need to solve the question answers. You remember few things, you forget few things. Again, you have to start with again all the domains. So, like, did you like, what was the biggest challenge you faced throughout this entire journey of 4 months? Like, was there any time where you felt, okay, I mean, I'm forgetting things, I'm not able to remember things, I watched this lecture, maybe again I have to see this lecture because so what was your journey?
So as I said, I couldn't do it by myself. Although I started it, I couldn't get my head around it. So once I purchased your lectures and your class app, I completely followed what you said in every unit. Like, you have a small introduction before the domain started, like how to go about it. So I just relied upon it. I started with the videos. I went through the miscellaneous questions. I just watched your videos in the first go. So I would take up each domain. For me, domain 1 and 2 were relatively easy, although my scores won't reflect as much in domain 1 and 2. I mean, in domain 2, but
That
my
happens with everyone.
yeah, it was a shocker, but my domain 1 and 2 was relatively easy for me, and 3, 4, and 5 were more technical, especially like 4 and I think 3 and 4 were a little challenging for me. So I would start up with domain one, like each domain, and I would give it about a week to ensure that I understand the concepts mainly, and I would watch the lectures in that. So I made a timetable for myself. So 5 weeks, 5 domains, and within 1 week, I would make sure that every domain was instilled in my head um, properly to understand the concepts. And I would also practice the questions after each domain, and on your based on your like the few questions that you have
Correct.
after each videos. And then I would do the Q&A just to test my knowledge. And I will tell you, once I started watching your lectures and started doing the Q&A, I was able to answer so much better than I was learning by myself. Like, self study is not for this course if you do not have IT background. You really need someone to explain like how things work and what happens in each domain and how systems work, what is the universe of the systems. So it's very important that we get external help if we don't have an IT background. So that's how I did it. I watched the videos, I would do the Q&A, then I would like go through the CRM and highlight a few things, but I would always forget what the CRM had. Like, I would read the CRM and I would forget it. So it was almost like as though I never read it before. So that happened for 5 weeks. And then at the end of fifth week, I would be like, oh my God, what happened in domain one? I completely forgot because the portions are so vast. It's so difficult to wrap your head around it. So then I had to do the whole thing again. And then it starts like instilling in your head, like, okay, this is what happens. So after 2 months, I did 2 months of like pure just study and understand the concepts. Then I was out there to do the unit test, the mini pocket test, and the MCQs. So I feel like 2 months I really needed 4 hours of study just to understand the concept and not to forget it. And I think domain 4 and 3, I had to like do more than 2 times because those are not my areas of work, or I've never done any audits of such. So I had to really put in more work for domain 3 and 4, and 5 too. But 5, I could like 5 is more on attacks. So you just need to understand some kind of the attacks, and I use flashcards, and I would draw myself images. Like I your lectures would itself show the graphical representation. I feel I'm a very graphical representation person. I can understand something if it's like drawn to me or if it's in a picture format. So I feel like your domain, especially in terms of attacks, the banana attack, and there were so many that I could understand because like there were pictures, and it was a very interactive session when it comes to your video. So it really helped me get through like all of those 5 domains. And I did extremely well in all the domains except the domain that I was really good at work. That's what shocks me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that happens when you start focusing on the your weak areas, and you don't understand, you don't realize that your weak areas have become the strongest and your strong areas are becoming weak. You don't realize that point. Yeah, and also the thing is that it's very difficult to have background and experience in all the 5 domains, because CISA syllabus as an auditor, you must understand almost everything. So that's the reason the syllabus is too vast. But it's nearly impossible for anyone to have experience in all the 5 domains.
That's
So
true.
that also makes this certification difficult to achieve. And also, since you have mentioned that you have got the job after qualifying your CSAP. So I mean, I want to ask you one question. Since you are based in US, so I mean, I'm like recently I see a change in the there's a shift in the trend, because previously like people used to go for masters in US, like they used to take huge loans, and then they used to spend 2 years of time, huge amount of investment. Okay. And right now, not only among the professionals, like I see even the like organizations also, they are asking their employees to get IT certifications. There are times when I hear this thing that IT certification is getting more valued in the market as compared to a master's in IT, maybe MBA or whatever. So do you feel the same in US? Like I mean, in whichever organization you are in, like do you also feel the same kind of thing? Like IT certification also has the equal value, if not less.
Yeah. So, in my personal opinion, while I was searching for a job, I did not see any highlight on masters required. This is my personal opinion, but I'm sure there are other people who would say that, yeah, they had to get a master's to get their job. But in my personal opinion, and I just got a job, so I can tell you for sure they probably do look for a master's, but they focus on you having a professional qualification on the job title or on their hiring area. So while I was looking, as I mentioned earlier, it was mainly on CIA or CISA. So I had to make sure that I had to get one of this to get the job that I wanted. And and in terms of masters, I would say that at this time and age, I feel if you have a professional certification, you have a competitive advantage over the other candidates in your pool. So I would say that definitely you have to have a professional certification or for whatever job you're applying. maybe or may not necessarily a master's. I can't comment on that, but definitely I can say that a professional certification is required for you to even get promoted or even get a job. Because from my personal experience from the past 5 years, I know that if you do not have a professional qualification, or if you're not constantly studying or learning to upgrade yourself and update yourself with the recent changes in the market. For example, now it's like cybersecurity, and there's a lot of third party risk management that's happening. So if you are not, or anti money laundering, so if you're not constantly studying or learning or getting one of those certifications, it's really difficult to even get a job or even get promoted in your current job. So I cannot kind of comment on masters, but I would say you definitely need a professional qualification.
Yeah, and with your answer, I have one more question. So you mentioned in your answer that you do require professional certification to get not only the maybe like promotion in your job, existing job, or maybe to get into a new job. So like, do you feel that like qualifying CISA before getting a job? I mean, did CISA help you for getting a job? Did CISA help you for cracking the interview? Or because again there is no as such prerequisite that you cannot become IT auditor without CISA. I mean, there are people who get into this field, they work here, and after maybe taking experience of 2 to 3 years, they go for the certification. So I have seen both kind of people. There are people who do the certification first, they understand things, it helps them to have the conceptual clarity, and it also helps them not only in the practical but also to crack the interviews in the first place. I have seen people, they take experience first, then they decide, okay, now am I getting interest in this field, like, and when they feel, okay, no, I'm getting interest in this field, then only they do these kind of certification. So both kind of people I have seen. So like, what is your perspective on this?
So I feel, so in my opinion, when I started working, I finished my graduation and I started working. And over the course of my experience is when I realized that I need this certification to to understand more of what I'm doing or to speak more on it. So while I was working, I realized, okay, I needed a CMA. And then I moved into investigations. I got a CFE. All this really helped me understand more about what I was doing, not just based on a particular project that was I was given, but on a holistic basis. I was able to understand end to end on what exactly, why are we doing this, what is the reason for recording or documenting certain things. So I think, and just in case of CISA, the I had the leverage and the time to prepare for it before I got a job. But I know people who would want to take their time off, study for the certification, and then go into a job. But that job may not be hiring when you are prepared to go in. So I'm not sure about that side. I think on this side, you should always make sure that you have time for yourself and understand about what your project or what your job requires from you, and keep updating yourself. That is my opinion. I did see, so I was anyways planning to do, I had a few certifications that I wanted to get done in my bucket list. And this was definitely one of it, but there was a mind block in my head. Uh, that I would not be able to do it because it's an IT certification and I don't have the technical capabilities to go for it. But I think unless you try, you will never really know. It's not impossible to get a CISA, because there has always been talks in office saying that, oh my God, it's so difficult. I don't think it's possible that you can clear it. And, or I don't know if I need to take like a month off to do it. I've been hearing this since 2017 and it's 2024. And I'm sure in the past 3 or 4 years, people have been like, studying and getting certification. So I don't think it's a very difficult task to do it while you're working. I just had the leverage that I could do it while I was not working. Uh, but this really helped me. So I don't think anybody has to sit and think about, okay, does this certification like really, will this help me with my, and this is what I want to go for. But once you start working is when you know whether you like something or not. Once I started working, I realized I am not the biggest fan of accounting, and my CMA was like, it's still there, but I would rather have done like a CIA back in the day. Or I'm so grateful that I picked CFE because I was able to get experience in forensics. So once you start working is when you understand what you really like and if you really like it. And that's when I think you should really opt for what certification you need to go for. And yeah, I love auditing, and cybersecurity and IT is booming in the market. So I knew that I had to get something related to IT for myself and for my professional growth. And I had a competitive advantage when it came to applying for jobs. So that is my personal opinion. Yeah.
All right. So thanks for that detailed answer. So any last piece of advice to the viewers who are the future CISA aspirants or watching our lectures? The syllabus is going to change from next month. They are worried about the new syllabus coming, the new amendments. So any piece of advice you would like to give to the people?
I think if you're a non-IT background, there is no really time that you're completely prepared for the exam. It's a leap of faith. So you could be studying for 6 months and still feel you're not prepared. So even at the end of 6 months, I feel if you can or are able to like solve questions, even though you're not completely like if your mind is not completely confident, the only reason your mind is not confident is because it's a new challenge for you. It's not something you've done it before. So I would say, just if you have been preparing well and you're confident with the work, I mean with the work, that hard work that you've put in, I think you have to take the leap of faith and give the exam. That is towards the end, but initially I would like to say that get this course, get Aditya's course. It has helped me, and I know it is gonna help everyone. Like Aditya, like you say, even one word in the question could change the entire answer. Like in my personal opinion, during my exam, I had a couple of similar questions, and the only reason they had different answers were because they were worded in a different way. Like one would miss a different word, and that is very important, and that's what your course like mainly helps us to focus on, to concentrate on what the question is asking, and what are the four options, and how those options also could like confuse you. Because there could be two straight answers to a question. Like there could be two clear answers like that could confuse you, and two answers that won't be related to the question. So it's always how you prepare. And I would say definitely use flashcards, write down notes, highlight whatever, all those things that you have never worked on before or never studied before. And at least do the lectures twice if you're a non-IT background. Maybe if you're super smart, you can get it done in the first go, but at least twice. And I think I did the last 2 weeks. I messaged you and asked like, how do I go about it? Because I was so nervous. I think I postponed the exam like a couple of times, and because like I said, it's a leap of faith. Like you have to do it. You can't keep postponing because you're spending more time just studying the same thing. These mock tests would like really teach your mind and body to sit through the 4 hours. So it's very important that mock tests, practice exams, anything.
All
Yeah.
right, all right. So thanks a lot for sharing your detailed journey, and there are a lot of things. I hope that everyone will get a lot of understanding about her journey, and it really helps, and I'm sure that it will really help a lot of people. It really has helped in the future, in the past also, and I'm sure it will help a lot of people in the future also. And as she mentioned that like even though she was referring to my lecture, she mentioned about flashcards. She had taken down all the notes and everything. So the traditional way of studying, because sometimes we feel okay, we have YouTube, we have internet, we have mobile phones, laptops. So I mean, we can just skip the traditional method of noting down things, important points, important areas, important terms, concepts. But all those small things which we used to do during our school days, all those things helps you. So thanks a lot for sharing your journey.
Thank you so much, Aditya. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to clear it. It feels so relieved.
It was your efforts, your hard work equally. So I'm
Yeah,
glad you are able to make it. So all the
yeah.
best for the future.
Thank you so much. All the best to you.
Thank you.